Today we are with Herb Kelleher, who is an icon in the airline industry, who has managed to achieve the impossible, and that is decades of profitable, unprecedented growth in a company that's in the midst of a very, very troubled industry like the airline industry. Welcome, Herb.
Thank you, Eduardo. I'm proud to be with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. You founded Southwest Airlines in 1971.
Yes, we started operating in 71.
Okay. What has Southwest achieved? What has been the achievement? How can you measure the success?
Well, during that time, since 1971, we have never had a furlough at Southwest Airlines. Our people have had total job security, and I think that's something that I'm most proud of with respect to Southwest. We've had the best customer satisfaction record in the industry since the Department of Transportation started keeping statistics. We've been the most profitable airline in the industry with 35 consecutive years of profitability and the leading operating and net margins in the industry, and we've provided a lot of shareholder value. If you had invested $100,000 in Southwest Airlines in 1971 or 1972, it was worth $100 million in 2002. So I think we've produced for all of our constituencies, our employees, our outside customers, and our shareholders. And I'm very proud of that. It's attributable to our people.
Well, I was going to ask that. What's the key behind that success?
Well, we had, I think, a very well-defined strategy. It's very simple, but we've been very disciplined about adhering to it. Our operations were quite a bit different from other airlines, but I really think that our humanistic approach to our people was probably more essential than anything else, because we value them as individuals, not just as workers. We pay an enormous amount of attention to them. We grieve with them when they have some unfortunate event in their personal lives. We rejoice with them when they have something in their personal lives that is a source of joy. And we try to make our people aware of the fact that we value them as people, not just as workers when they're at work. And we ask them to be themselves, to have the liberty to be themselves at work. He said, you know, we didn't hire you because you were an automaton or a robot. We hired you because of your personality. So continue to be you at work. And something Robert Frost said to me, not to me, but said one time, has always stuck with me, and that is, isn't it a shame that people's minds work furiously until they get to work and then their minds stop? Well, we try to have an atmosphere where people's minds keep going all the time. They can have fun, they can be creative, they're given a great deal of latitude as to how they deal with any problem that they may face.
Give me examples of that.
Of examples of the latitude?
Yes.
Well, you know, I used one this morning, which is really my favorite, about the 4-month probationary employee who wrote me a letter, and weather had prevented us from flying from BWI Baltimore Airport to Islip MacArthur Airport on Long Island. And she was there by herself, customer service agent, only 4 months seniority, and she went out and she rented 4 or 5 buses to take all the passengers from Baltimore to Islip. And then she wrote me and said, Herb, I hope you believe what you say about giving us the opportunity and the latitude to make decisions. So we gave her an award for her initiative. Wow. And that's an illustration of what we're talking about. And our people do that all the time. Their ideas are simply splendid, but we give them the opportunity to express them. And that's very important. We just have guidelines now. They're very simple guidelines, and as long as you're leaning towards the customer, you're going to be okay. But if you're leaning away from the customer, that won't be okay. Now, a lot of people have asked me, as I'm sure you understand, you know, what happens if somebody makes a good-hearted decision, but it turns out to be very costly? Well, there again, we're different from many companies because we don't adopt a new regulation. We don't adopt a new rule. We bring the person in face to face, and we say, we applaud your intentions. We love your good heart. But if everybody across the system did this, we'd be bankrupt in 6 months. So we laud you for your heart, but please don't do it again.
Going to your management and leadership styles, You once told me a story to illustrate the difference between culture, which has been a key element in handling the people, and strategy.
Yes.
Can you tell us the story?
Yes, I can. And thank you for remembering it.
Of course.
Well, what I said was that a lot of people have asked me about the difference between strategy and culture. And what I respond to them is that Napoleon and his generals sat down together in Paris, and they decided they were going to invade Russia as part of their imperialistic strategy. That was the strategy. But then you have to get 1 million French troops to march into Russia, and it's the culture that makes the troops march.
Okay. What have been personally your keys to success? Were they your skills, your upbringing? What was special about you?
Well, I don't think there's anything really special about me, except that I have always been very interested in and really liked people, and all kinds of people from everywhere and in all positions in life. And I've enjoyed working with them, and I enjoy formulating teams and getting people to cooperate or coalesce, you know, in a worthwhile, hopefully inspiring endeavor. I've always been very team-minded, even when I was small.
An industry that's so competitive, why don't they copy you? Why don't they do the same things? And so there is something special about you.
Well, it's interesting that you would remark on that, because I've always thought that our esprit de corps, the attitude of our employees, was one of our biggest competitive advantages. You know, people like to be treated nice, like to be treated well, and our people do that from the goodness of their hearts. And that is an advantage over other carriers. And we used to hold a corporate day. I don't think I've ever told you this,
no,
but you will remember if I did.
Okay.
We used to hold a corporate day, and companies would come in, not just from the United States, but from around the world. And they would talk to us about how do we hire, how do we train, how do we inspire. Well, to be honest with you, most of them were looking for some little formula that you could put on a blackboard, you know, like E equals MC squared. And it's not formulaic. It has to proceed from the heart, not the head. And it's like a mosaic where you're putting little pieces in place every day. And I think most of them concluded that executionally, they liked the idea conceptually, but executionally, it was just too big of a burden for them. But we had up to, I think on one occasion, 160 companies come in.
So the market wasn't ready to really imitate you, because they imitated the actions and not the philosophy.
Yes, yeah. It was very dumbfounding to us, because a lot of people were very interested in how we did things from that humanistic standpoint. But I think a great many of them, at least, just said, "Oh my, that's too much trouble."